It's frustrating probably because of some of the people in our industry, right? Unless you just totally miss the price off the mark and you overprice your house and you have the wrong expectation up front about what an acceptable offer could look like. What if people aren't interested in what I have to offer? What if the market doesn't like my house?
You can either raise the condition or drop the price. You get the pick. All right, Kristin, an expert in seller frustrations. You've sold, how many listings you sold lifetime?
250?
I would call you an expert in seller frustrations. So what would you say the top 5 out of your 250 sales, what would you say your top 5 seller frustrations?
If I had to list them off, lowball offers, a lengthy and difficult selling process, limited buyer interest, inconvenient showings at inconvenient times that don't fit with the seller's lifestyle, and the high perceived costs of selling.
Okay, so let's talk about lowball offers and how you overcome that. So you got a listing, it's $1 million. Me being the blood-sucking investor that I am, I come in and I'm offering you $600 cash. What's that conversation with your seller?
Well, in a market like we're in right now with historically low inventory, right? It's not too common to even see a lowball offer to begin with, unless you just totally miss the price off the mark and you overprice your house and you have the wrong expectation up front about what an acceptable offer could look like. But it's not often that we even see a lowball offer right now. And for us at the Delia Group, a lot of it is with the strategy and the planning, the stages of putting your home on the market and choosing that impactful marketing price to begin with, so that you can ensure that you actually get more than one offer to compete against each other, and the lowball offer doesn't even matter at that point.
But from what I'm hearing, the lowball offer is almost a blessing.
Yeah, the lowball offer actually becomes a leverage piece to get someone else to pay a little bit more.
Yeah, because now you're in multiples, and the other party, it's a blind auction, right? The other party doesn't know what the other party's bidding or whether it came in, so they've got to bring their best foot forward. So sometimes you can turn what's perceived as a negative into actually it's a huge positive. So don't be afraid of them at all. Okay, so number 2, lengthy seller process. What does that mean? What does something like that look like in the transaction itself? Yeah,
I mean, it can be really hard to have your market or your house on the market for an extended period of time, right? Constantly having to live in a state where you're ready to show the house, waiting for your phone to ring or your, notification to go off that someone wants to see, and now you have to pack up the kids and the dogs and, clean the kitchen and do all this stuff to make sure your house is show ready, right? So a lot of people feel that it's a burden to have a house on the market for months at a time, or even, a number of weeks. So our solution to that is to run our process, right? And usually most of our sellers are selling their homes in top to bottom, 12 days. And that's only 4 days of consolidated showings where we push all the demand for your house into basically one long weekend of showings. So you can prepare, bring the parade through, pick the best offer, and be done.
Yeah. And what that does also is when someone pulls up to the home and they see that there's a line down the block to see it, that makes the kids these days call it FOMO, right? It's fear of missing out, and it creates this auction-like environment that gets the house sold quickly. So that all boils down to how much interest you're able to generate right off the start, right?
For sure.
Which a lot has to do with presentation, prep, and then price, right? Making sure it's priced at the right bracket to drive the most amount of attention. Strategic marketing price. Okay, so number 3, limited buyer interest.
Right.
I could imagine why that would be a frustration to a seller. So how do you work your way through that?
So that's a common fear that I hear from a lot of people, right? They fear I haven't updated my bathrooms or my kitchen, and my house is original, and what if people aren't interested in what I have to offer? What if the market doesn't like my house? And the answer to that is simple. Again, with the right price, anything becomes saleable.
Yeah, it boils down to price and condition, right?
Yeah.
So you can either raise the condition or drop the price. You get the pick.
Yeah.
And sometimes raising the condition is better than dropping the price. It might be something that's just small that you liked and was unique to you and you enjoyed, but you're not going to be living here anymore. So let's make it ready for the next person. That's part of the consultation.
For sure. And at that consultation, we can take that a number of ways, right? Oftentimes we'll bring in a stager or a designer or, a handyman who can help you spruce up some items on a budget, right? And get it ready for the market and really make it shine.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. Inconvenient showing. So what does an inconvenient showing look like? And why is that a frustration?
Well, it's frustrating probably because of some of the people in our industry, right? A lot of agents are taking calls from the internet. Someone saw your house online. They want to see it in the next 20 minutes, right? And now you're getting the request for the showing and you're not ready. The same things we talked about before. Your dinner plates are still in the sink and kids and dogs are running around and you got to get out quick, right? So a lot of people want to control these showings and segment them into times that work for them. And we've got some great solutions for that. Again, we typically pack all of our activity into one long weekend if it's done right.
Yep. Can't agree more. And then now high selling costs. So what does that mean, high selling costs?
Yeah, a lot of people perceive that it's really expensive to sell your home, right? You've got real estate commissions, you've got transfer taxes paid to the state and the county, you've got a title policy, different things. And what we've learned over time is that there are about a dozen costs that we can take from the seller side of the deal and move them over to the buyer side. And especially in an environment like we're in right now where there's low inventory, a lot of buyers are willing to chip in on some of those costs. So again, a strategy.
Yeah, we have a strategy, and what's unique about real estate is the people who are new and the people who are super experienced, we're all fully charged the same. Yeah, the people who are super experienced know those different strategies, and the people who are new or maybe they've been in the business but haven't attended the amount of education that we have, they may not even know that those items are negotiable.
100%.
Right? And so the consumer ultimately ends up paying more or believes the only way to drive net is the price, which we both know is not true. Definitely not true. And sometimes raising price is actually not the right choice. And moving some of those transactional costs to the other side is actually better. So yeah, if you're interested in hearing more about that or the whole selling process, go ahead, reach out. Kristin knows her stuff inside and out. We'd love to connect you. Appreciate it. Thank you.